New details on an extremely grisly murder in downtown Las Vegas. We thank you for joining us here at 6. I'm Denise Valdez.
And I'm Brian Loftus. It happened yesterday morning around the area of 3rd Street in East Charleston. 8 News Now investigator Kyle Payne was there first with news of this murder yesterday, and he joins us live. Kyle, with the latest.
Denise, Brian, consider yourself warned. The details of this murder here in downtown Las Vegas are disturbing, but this is the block where police say they arrested a man named Colin Check, age 31. He was arrested yesterday on open murder charges. Not in court today, Judge Rebecca Sachs said Check was in the hospital. A police report identified the victim as Kenneth Brown. And a document obtained by the 8 News Now investigator says Brown had a large cut to part of his head and that he was missing an eye and an ear when police found him. And neighbors yesterday were amazed with what they heard.
Pretty bizarre, man. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that goes on out here, as you said, but this takes the cake as far as just all out outness. You know what I mean?
It's pretty disgusting.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So, I'm not sure what this person may have been going through. But yeah, it's something else I would say entirely.
Police say Check was going in and out of consciousness while he was in police custody and told cops that something was, quote, possessing him. Here at the bus stop where police arrested Check, the scene is too bloody and gory to show you on television. Just about as bad as those gory details in the police report, which you can read more about on our website. Reporting live in downtown Las Vegas, Kyle Payne. 8 News Now.
Kyle, thanks. Now, today at Las Vegas Justice Court, a new date for Check was set to be in court. The new date is May 1st on Wednesday. Meantime, he's being held without bail while he is in the hospital.
At least 4 U.S. Marshals shot and killed while serving a warrant this morning in North Carolina.
5 other law enforcement officials also injured in the hours-long standoff. Fox's Kevin Uretsky has more.
Tragedy unfolding in North Carolina on Monday after 3 law enforcement officers were shot and killed while serving a warrant at a home in Charlotte. Investigators say the officers were part of a U.S. Marshals task force. They were first shot at as they approached the property. Police returned fire, shooting and killing a man in the front yard. The same one officers were there for, wanted for felony firearm possession.
We have confirmed that the individual that was set up, that we were serving the warrant on, was the individual who fired the initial shots.
Then more gunfire from inside the home. A 3-hour standoff ensued.
Stepped outside my door, police were running by, and then ambulance started coming in, and they were just going everywhere.
4 Charlotte Mecklenburg officers who responded were also shot while trying to rescue their wounded comrades. 1 currently hospitalized in critical condition. Another member of the task force also wounded during the shootout.
We heard about over 100 gunshots. It sounded like World War III.
Ultimately, a SWAT team arrived on scene, using an armored vehicle to crash into the home. Inside, a woman and a 17-year-old male were taken into custody. Police say a high-powered rifle was found inside that home. Law enforcement tonight grieving the lives that were lost.
Today's an absolute tragic day for the city of Charlotte and for the profession of law enforcement. Today we lost some heroes that are out to just simply trying to keep our community safe.
Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
Tonight, devastating new details. We are learning about the desperate moments leading up to a murder-suicide of a mother and son in March.
Yeah, the two were the focus of an Amber Alert before they were found dead at Tom Slick Park. Investigators say 3-year-old Caden Krieger was at the center of a custody battle. KENS 5 reporter Hannah Tita is in studio tonight with the new evidence released by the sheriff. Hannah?
Henry, Sheriff Javier Salazar has released a timeline of March 19th, the day Savannah Krieger and her son, 3-year-old Caden Krieger, went missing. But first, a warning to our viewers tonight. Details of this story are graphic.
Cell phone data cracks the case of a murdered child, according to the Bexar County Sheriff's Office. It started in a southeast neighborhood on March 19th. That's where investigators say just after 1, Savannah Krieger stopped by her ex-husband's house while he was at work
and damaged various items of personal clothing, furniture items.
Sheriff Javier Salazar says Savannah then drove to her own home in Alamo Ranch.
We know is that there were some wedding dresses that seemed to have been laid out. We believe that she fired 2 shots into her wedding portraits.
After that, surveillance video shows Savannah picking up her son Caden from daycare at about 2:30, detectives say. At 3:19, Salazar says Savannah sent one last text message to her ex that read, "Say goodbye to your son." On her phone, they reportedly found a 21-second recording.
She and Caden appear to be already seated at the drainage ditch where their bodies would eventually be found. Savannah instructs Caden to say bye to Daddy.
Salazar says a handgun was found next to their bodies. He tells us the shell casings match the ones in Savannah's home.
And we will never know the complete picture.
The CEO of Family Violence Prevention Services says children are most often victims of violence.
And the community's attention should go now to those members of the family that are left with no real answers.
And Marta Prada Pelaez, who you just saw there, says these horrific cases highlight the need for a crisis nursery in San Antonio. If you or someone you know needs help, please call the Family Violence Prevention Hotline at 1-800-799-72.
In anguish tonight after 3 of her children were allegedly killed by her ex-husband, their former stepfather, before he turned the gun on himself. Now the family is mourning the young lives taken so tragically and shockingly. Atlanta News First, Carly Barnett is live at Lucky Shoals Park in Tucker, where those 4 bodies were discovered early this morning. Carly, this is a hard story to talk about.
Alan, this is never the type of news that we ever want to have to report. But they were found in a car on this trail behind me. A police officer had gone to investigate because that's a walking trail, and it was around 1 a.m. that the car was parked out there, and that's when that officer made the horrific discovery, the body of a man, 2 young girls, and a young boy. Now their mother, understandably devastated.
3 bouquets of flowers outside the door, representing 3 lives tragically taken too soon. Gwinnett County Police say 13-year-old Ariani, 11-year-old Shadell, and 9-year-old Carlos Rodriguez were found shot and killed inside a car early Wednesday morning, along with a man in an apparent murder-suicide.
Bad. It's not any other word to describe this. Bad. I mean, that a mother is broken in pieces. She cannot even talk.
Laura Torres is with the Consulate for the Dominican Republic and is assisting the mother.
She have a baby by her side. I say baby because it's 6 years old. That is the one left who do not understand, but she cannot even right now do anything for him because she don't understand what's going on.
Torres says the suspected shooter is the mother's ex-husband and the former stepfather of the 3 children. He was the biological father of their 6-year-old child. She says the 6-year-old fell off his bike Tuesday and was taken to the hospital with a minor injury. Torres says his father showed up too and caused a bit of a scene, but ultimately offered to take the other 3 children out who were getting restless.
That's what he said. I'm going to get them something to eat.
Hours later, Gwinnett County Police discovered the scene at Lucky Shoals Park. As police investigate
and try to at least bring some conclusion to the families who may be involved.
A broken family will now have to navigate how to move forward.
The name of the suspected shooter has not yet been released. We are awaiting more information from an autopsy. Live in Tucker, Carly Barnett, Atlanta News First.
Welcome to the channel. Today we jump into a tragic tale of family feuds turned fatal. In the rolling hills of Kentucky, a quiet Friday shattered into chaos as a series of shootings unfolded, leaving a trail of devastation in their wake. It all began with Larry Gosser, a dedicated officer with the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife. Little did he know that his day's work on his property would be his last. Larry fell victim to a gunshot, his life cut short by the hand of his own wife, Angela Gosser. But Angela's rampage didn't end there. Fueled by some unknown fury, she turned her gun on her own flesh and blood. Her sister, Jennifer Wilson, became her next target. Angela's bullet ended Jennifer's life, leaving behind a family stricken with grief. As if that wasn't enough, Angela's brother, Daryl Wilson, found himself in the crossfire. In a desperate bid for survival, Daryl fought back against his sister's onslaught, ultimately taking her life to protect his own. The scene of this family tragedy was painted with blood and sorrow. Angela's lifeless body lay in Daryl's home, a grim reminder of the violence that tore through their family bonds. But the horror didn't stop there. Hours later, authorities discovered Larry's lifeless form, adding another layer of tragedy to this already grim tale. As investigators pieced together the events of that fateful day, one question lingered: what drove Angela Gosser to commit such heinous acts? The answer remains shrouded in mystery, leaving a community searching for closure and understanding in the wake of unimaginable loss.
Developing now, an investigation is underway to decide whether the deadly police shooting of a Metro Atlanta man was justified. Last Friday, a Florida deputy shot and killed 23-year-old Roger Fortson at his home while responding to a disturbance call. 11 Alive's Joe Ripley joining us now. And Joe, a big part of this investigation will focus on newly released body camera of the shooting of that airman.
That's right, Jennifer. This body cam footage shows the moments leading up to this deadly shooting of Airman Roger Fortson. I spoke earlier with a former law enforcement officer to get some perspective on the incident, and a word of warning for those watching tonight. You're going to hear some gunshots in this story.
He shot up. My baby was shot up.
A mother mourns, and this family grieves the loss of U.S. Senior Airman Roger Fortson. This body cam video shows the moments leading up to the Metro Atlanta man's deadly shooting. You can see and hear an Okaloosa County, Florida deputy knocking on Fortson's door, responding to a disturbance call.
Let's open the door.
The deputy announces himself twice. The door opens. The deputy says, "Step back," and within seconds, 6 shots ring out. Sheriff Eric Aiden says Fortson knew law enforcement was at the door when he answered, armed with a gun pointed down.
And then it comes down to, was the officer reasonable in that shooting?
Former law enforcement officer turned criminal attorney Mike Puglisi says the officer was likely processing real-time information within fractions of a second.
I did not see any threatening mannerisms on his part at all. He didn't, wasn't waving his hands around. He wasn't yelling profanities like, "Get the blankety blank out of here." Nothing threatening I saw.
Puglisi says there are a lot of unknowns in this case. Body cam shows the deputy speaking with someone who says there had been previous calls to the apartment, and Fortson was speaking to his girlfriend just before the shooting.
Training is everything, but how do you train for this type of situation? This is one of those unique situations where it's tough. It's really a tough call.
The Florida Department of Law Enforcement will investigate whether the shooting was justified. Then the state attorney's office will conduct its own investigation.
We are confident in our state's agencies' abilities to investigate the facts, no matter where they may lead. And we are prepared to take action that is required to best serve our residents, the military community, and our visitors.
The Okaloosa County Sheriff says he's seen comments claiming the deputy went to the wrong apartment and burst through the door, but he says the body cam video shows those statements are false. You can watch the full body cam video right now. Just head to 11alive.com.
All right, Joe, thanks a lot.